Hello, my lovely people. I greet you all. Umu Chineke, anywhere you are watching this video, I greet you according to your time zone. If it is your first time of coming across this platform, Linda's TV show, you are welcome. If you like what we are doing, like, subscribe to this page, and leave your comment constructively. I want to appreciate you too for creating this wonderful platform that we are using to disseminate information to the members of the public. At the same time, I put a disclaimer that here in Linda's TV show, we do not promote war, violent hate speech, or instigate war, but rather we are here to educate, inform the members of the public about what is happening.
Probably worried about what is happening in the southeast today, in Igboland today. I was many years ago a young man, and as a young man, I identified myself very well with all the hopes, all the aspirations of our people. I know that our people started in Igboland from a very humble beginning. For example, in 1914, when Lugard migrated Nigeria, Igbos didn't have even any secondary school. But by 1960, when we had independence, Igbos have attained exalted height in education. Igbos have attained exalted height in business, in bureaucracy. We have achieved a lot. All these achievements, as I'm telling younger people today, was made possible first of all by the fact that our forebears, our parents, embraced Christianity. Christian faith have got the whole sacred human life as sacred. That man, Christian faith forbids a man taking another person's life. Christian faith, they also embraced education. They worked very hard. All the communities, in fact, the education in those days was a partnership between the government and the various communities and the various missionary bodies. Our forebears had worked very hard to build a very formidable Igbo who are respected in Nigeria. But unfortunately, what I'm seeing today is incredible. Yes, I'm aware that some Igbo young people, like young people in other tribes in Nigeria, feel they are not quite satisfied with how things are going. I think Nnamdi Kanu is part of people who have felt unsatisfied, but that doesn't entail going to kill or going to set up an army or plan to kill anybody. We live in a country, Nigeria, and there is a constitution in Nigeria. And anything anybody wants to get from any civilized society must be done through a constitutional process. Now, mark you, this is not the first time people.
We're now being joined by Dr. Chima Nnaji, a lawyer and former governorship candidate in Enugu State. Good morning and welcome to the show. Well, we were just listening to Chief Iwayam over there, and
a very good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. So I'd like to know, Dr. Nnaji, what your initial reaction was to the news of the killing of the 5 Nigerian soldiers and 6 civilians in Abia State by suspected members of IPOB. How do you contextualize this incident within the broader spectrum of IPOB's agitation and historical grievances in the southeast region?
Well, thank you very much, and good morning, viewers. It's not going to be my focus to just circumscribe the killing of soldiers only in the southeast. There's a general knowledge that Nigeria security situation has deteriorated very, very tremendously, and regrettably so. And it feels so painful whenever you hear any security agent
mowed down or gone down, not at the war front, because it makes you feel very unsafe as an individual. Because if your security man could have been tied up, it's just a matter of seconds and you'll be reached. So that is my own feeling about, general feeling whenever I hear that this thing happened. And it is very, very also somehow disappointing, the ease with which it appears our security men are killed in the street, not at the war front. There has to be some extra vigilance, even if nothing else, to reassure us that we are also protected. Now, the location of killing does not necessarily mean that it is people there that committed the criminal act. It's condemnable to kill ordinary people, not to talk about men in uniform. Even, as I said, the situation calls for extra vigilance on the part of security agents, because one of the reasons why criminals may want to go for them, it may not be personal. They may be interested in their arms. After all, it is the means of violence that is in the possession or unlawful possession of the criminal that he can unleash terror on ordinary helpless citizens. So, for that reason, eternal vigilance is called for by those who are in possession of those arms legitimately, so that they don't fall prey to those who are looking for an opportunity to dispossess them. And the only way to dispossess a man who has gun is to gun him down or snatch it one way or the other and render him helpless. And in the situation we find ourselves these days, human lives are no longer valuable as we used to know it. The president of Ohanese was talking about how sacrosanct life, that is in the past. Today, in those days, you will never fear about harm from somebody you didn't know or have any interaction with. Today, just because you are walking in the street, you could just be a victim. Or just because you come from a certain ethnic stock or faith, a religious faith, or you look like somebody, you could just become a victim. So, things have changed tremendously. And therefore, even the military, in its own reaction, I was not happy. And I believe, I just hope that the military was misquoted when he said it will retaliate. Retaliate against who? You have not identified who did what. And then the easiest prey will be to go around like sometimes the policemen will do, to pick anybody who looks like. That's an unnecessary profiling, prejudicial profiling, And there is an optics that is developing. You don't compare crimes. Crime is crime. But it appears that there is a different way the military or security agencies treat certain things that happen in certain locations as against how they do it in another location. And it shouldn't be so. Nigeria is the same. And the same crime should be meted out with the same punishment. But intelligence must come in. Intelligence, that's what, when we're doing Psychology 101, that's what we call SR mechanistic, stimulus response. The army of today should go beyond stimulus response and goes to stimulus mentalistic response. You must mediate the stimuli before you respond. You must find out who did what. Our criminal law and jurisprudence does not support Josephat killing Mr. Okonkwo, and then the police goes and arrests Samuel just because Samuel was staying there. You should look for the man who killed the person. You don't do displacement of aggression, and that is what retaliation connotes. And we have seen it in different locations, OD and what have you. So a situation where the military will come and pack every. I was just reading through some piece of information that in December some people were arrested, more than 40 something, from the southeast again, young men who some of them never traveled even outside Onitsha. They were packed into Abuja only just some few days ago to be released by the Federal High Court on bail. Some of them didn't know why they were there. And some people will be looking for their children. So that is not the attitude. In classical philosophy, where some of these statecraft issues were enunciated, Plato talked about the spirited element. The spirited element is the armed forces. And the armed forces are like bulldogs. They don't attack their owners. They attack the enemies of their owners. But we are beginning to see aggression turned inwards. And the system that does that is increasing and escalating violence. Because some people who may not be able to retaliate will bear animosity. So if you want intelligence, they will not give you. A military, like some of the cases we have read, trying to call the civil population, that was very good enough, giving them health services and so on. But that should not be a TV show. It should be ingrained in the character of the military, that you go after the criminals. Because indeed, what prevented the military from taking specific and audacious positions on that May 30, when it was announced to the whole world and to the discomfiture of even the Southeast people, including those whose children were to take exams on that day, that the people should not come out. That was an audacity that should not have been allowed to manifest. And now, you bring double jeopardy to the same people, like the proverbial palm kernel that says, as it was still suffering, that it was cracked with a stone. The person who cracked it put it in the mouth and cracked the nut with the teeth. That's double jeopardy. And in our laws, double jeopardy is not allowed. In criminal jurisprudence and our criminal laws, they are not. So the military should adopt intelligence, just like any other security agency should. It should not be a situation where 5 military men are killed, unjustifiably so. Then you go and pack 120 people, maybe 70 people will die in the process. But the criminal law in Nigeria, the principle is that rather than harm one innocent person for a crime that has been committed, let 100 criminals go free. But I know that the military has the intelligence, they have the capacity to identify people who may have done these things. And who says that crime is committed by those who live within the location of that crime? We have been witnesses to exhortation by some people, some of whom that may be identifiable, that Southeast should join in a crusade against the Tinubu's government.
Sorry, sir, are you alleging that you believe that the perpetrators of this crime are not from Abia State? Is that what you're saying?
I am not believing anything because I cannot say categorically, but reason. I'm a lawyer. Because if you come in and I'm cross-examining you, you have to establish first and foremost that you have evidence that those people you are chasing are the likely people that may have committed it. Today we have freedom of movement. Today we have criminals that commit something in Zamfara and you arrest them in Kaduna or Borno State and so on and so forth. Or commit criminal activities in Lagos and you can arrest them in Ebonyi State. So what is impossible? Because we are reasonable people and we are talking about how to find solution to this problem. You don't locate the localized crime. You have to spread your net. And it is the people that will also help you. There are some people who may have been witnesses to what may have happened. I don't know the nature of the location where this thing happened. But I believe perhaps there are some residents around that place that may be watching from their homes, as we do in this Lagos. Some people watch crime scenes from their distance, and some people film it. If you now begin to arrest everybody in the street, they will keep their facts because they might fall victim needlessly. So what I'm saying is that in trying to solve a problem, you must ventilate the environment. You do not get fixated. Otherwise, the problem will not be solved. It can be repeated and repeated and repeated. But I can say, without fear or favor, that it appears that criminals are looking for guns and ammunition. And that is why it becomes very easy that if you have 1 or 2 police orderlies, they go for those ones first, not only to weaken you, their victim, their potential victim for kidnap, but also they seize their arms, even if they are arrested later, because when you are trying to commit crime, your motive takes supreme over your caution. Only that at the end of the day, you now say it is the work of Satan. So I want a situation where the military should refrain from this type of attitude. We take revenge against who? If you have identified and arrested those people through military intelligence or any kind of intelligence for that matter, and you are sure they are the people, the law is very clear. Anybody who kills must be killed, except there is a justifiable reason under the law. And even from the level of conscience, every human life is sacrosanct. So it is not a situation where because military has the capacity to unleash violence anywhere, anytime, and anyhow. And we are in a civil governance. We should be looking at things from the legal perspective to be sure that we do not offend the sensibilities of the ordinary and helpless citizens. Let me just put this. There is a proverb that says, you as a native doctor, you normally have plenty of dried meat in your bag. Let the rat not go there every time to chop the meat. But the native doctor should also refrain from making every rat to lose their teeth just because he lost some pieces of meat. I don't know whether you get my drift.
Well, we do, Dr. Naji, but this proverb is a bit heavy. I know that it is in the spirit of the Igboland, you know, to infuse proverbs.
Yes, what it's just a encapsulation and encapsulation of my principle of justice. Okay. That you go after those who committed the offense and don't, because an ethnic member or member of a family did something, if it is proven that it's even from that family, then you go after the entire family. That's not you can't, like police sometimes will go and they don't find the husband who committed the offense. They will arrest the wife. The law is vehemently against such behavior. The criminal jurisprudence is against it, and our criminal law is against it, and the ACJ is also against it, even though it is still practiced one way or the other. But when you get to the court, it is shut down. So the point I'm making is that the military's effort to win the heart and soul and mind of Nigerian citizens, no matter where they are located, is to be painstaking in their investigation. The Okwama something is still very fresh. Some people have been giving account of their experiences at home. As unfortunate as it was that people died, they are all Nigerians, so there's no doubt about that. Even the fact that they were military and they are military and all that does not detract from the fact that they are Nigerians, children of somebody, father, relations and so on, with flesh and blood. So, but my contention here is that the military as well as our security agents should try to make it possible that they don't become easy prey, because those who are after them are looking. There are many people who will be interested in collecting their gun, and the young men who are marauding everywhere, taking drugs and so on. The effort of the state will amount to nothing in curbing drugs when it is possible for them to take that drug and have access to something they can steal to cause more mayhem.
All right, Dr. Naji. I mean, that's the explanation is expansive enough, but I would like you to dimension this, rather specifically along the thoughts expressed by the President General of the Ohanaeze Ndigbo, Chief Iwanyao, who basically expressed exasperation at what is happening in Igboland. And I'm asking you, what is your understanding of what is happening in Igboland beyond a few aggrieved young men who are causing mayhem? Do you have a full understanding of what they are revolting against? Okay, yes, there was a Biafra Day celebration, but why ask people to stay at home? Why sit at home? Why deny people, young lads, from going for their exams? Another one is slated for, I believe, September 29th. We do not know what will happen by that time. So my question to you, sir, first is this just about an overlay of security challenges that we're having in Nigeria, or is about the fact that the leaders in Igboland need to call their word to order? And secondly, if I can put it in another perspective, do you think that the compatriots in Igboland will be eager to stay in the brotherhood of this sovereign fatherland? In other words, will our compatriots in Igboland, your people, our people, be willing to sing Nigeria we hail thee in the manner that things are going on now? Is that what we are seeing, that people are agitating against the status quo?
Steve, the problem is not with the Igbo people, the ordinary Igbo people, it's with the politicians everywhere. The politicians are like Satans. Nigerian politicians, most of them are like Satans. What the crime that they did not cause does not happen. And even the few that they may not have initiated, when they happen, they defend it, appropriate it, and consolidate it, and nothing will happen. So that impunity gives so much courage to even ordinary people that will not have thought of doing things, that are untoward. Now, talking about the Igbo situation specifically, I had occasion on this year's station, sometime when there was, I think, a bomb or something in the Imo State, very close to the government house. And the Inspector General of Police of that time, I can't remember his name, whether it's Garba, I can't remember his name now, just that same morning said that it was IPOB. And I was saying, as much as nobody is insisting whether he was right or not, he did not seem to have given opportunity for those who were on ground to investigate and pass. Because anytime you see a dog with a bone on its neck, it may not have been the dog that hung it there. It may not. And somebody can also hang bone on the neck of a dog to call it a bad name. That is also not to deny that some youths may not be so misguided to do things that are untoward, like any other criminal set of youths anywhere in the world. I am not here to defend anybody. If you grab anybody, deal with the person decisively. Crime has no ethnicity. The damage has no ethnicity. The damage is universal. Now, when you talk about whether the situation in the Southeast, I also had occasion to talk about the Southeast was becoming a bazaar. And everybody was coming in. Since Southeast was free from maybe the headsmen and all that violence, they needed to give Southeast some share. Even if it was being deprived under that particular administration, some of the access to power and access to good governance, they need to partake of the share of violence. That was what happened in those days. But I'm not saying that is a situation that we can easily replicate, because the last president had a personal encounter with Nnamdi Kanu on a personal level, where he felt insulted personally and all that and all that. That's no longer the situation with Tinubu. So Tinubu should also listen to some of the exhortations that he should help the Southeast, because whenever you have a shanty, criminals will go and hide under its canopy. The other day, some environmental staff in Lagos went under the Ikoyi Bridge and was able to flush the sanctuary of some of the criminal elements in some parts of Lagos. It is the same thing. When you talk about IPOB, people use IPOB as a franchise, whether rightly or wrongly, even whether they are Igbos or not. The important thing is that IPOB, having been banned, is an outlaw. And therefore, when you have an outlaw operating, it cannot be lawful. So the point we are making is that the duty of security agents is to investigate these things. They should investigate. But is it not very strange, Steve, that whenever there is a threat from individuals or such organizations that they were going to do this, people should sit at home. Do you think that sitting at home is the best thing for people? Especially when their own children education was being jeopardized. The people are helpless. They are helpless. So it is the state that should help them. And those who should be used to help them are those who have the means of violence to counter whatever violence. Because the sit-at-home order is at the threat of violence if you come out. And we have seen what has happened. And even sometimes you begin to wonder, could an Igbo man have the courage, the effrontery and temerity of character to unleash such a pain on a fellow Igbo helpless citizen, even of an older age, just because the person came out on that very day to fend for his family? So these are questions, and nobody can unravel those questions except the intelligence community. Many of the intelligence communities we have in different locations appear to be working, but there should not be some maybe disparate application of intelligence in different locations when you have the same challenge. The same challenge should be met with the same seriousness. Okay? So the Igboland, I believe, the politicians who seem to be flourishing in Igboland are those who are enjoying certain leverages outside Igboland. If you look at that, I will leave it at that. Yeah, because I'm an elder. So I don't say everything. Okay? When I tell you that you should not go to the stream, you should know that they either may be masquerade or ghost. And you refrain from doing so.
Thank you, Dr. Naji. It's almost sounding like what my mom would say, what an adult can see sitting down, even a child will not see, even if...
exactly. Even if you climb the Iroko tree.
You won't see it. Well, you've already mentioned some of these, leaders, and I want to talk about, as we begin to wrap up, political accountability on the backdrop of dialogue and engagement. Do you think that the Southeast leaders, be it traditional leaders, and even the governors of the Southeastern states have been sufficiently accountable and proactive in addressing the underlying issues that continue to fuel IPOB's agitation? As a former governorship candidate yourself, how would you advise these current political leaders of handling such a complex issue, talking about the specific strategies that they can adopt to restore peace and stability in the region while addressing the demands of IPOB?
I don't think it is just necessary to particularize this thing to IPOB. IPOB is just a group of people. Everybody in Igboland does not belong to this IPOB, something we are talking about. Governance is for the people, and it does not have to require an unnecessary agitation by anybody for it to be given to the people freely if one is actually representing the people. The problem in Igboland now is that the wrong people are in power. Not in every state, though, not in every facet, though, but predominantly, the wrong people are in power. And like I alluded before, that when you are listening to music played in the bush, you don't go sit in the city and drink coffee. You must be nearer the bush where you'll be listening to the music very well. So the point we are making is that the Igbo people are like captives, and we require the federal government, the security agencies, to help our people. To help our people. And if you don't take steps to unleash the power of the Igbo people, that aspect of their contribution to national development will be lost. And Nigeria will be worse for it. You may not know what your left hand is doing, even when you are a right-handed person, until when we saw in one of the boxing situation, the right hand couldn't deliver, and the wife of the boxer told him, remember your left hand. And when he delivered it, the other guy collapsed. And that was the end of the match. So the point we are making is that all hands must be on deck. We have, Steve had just made a tactical allusion to some of the lyrics in the new old national anthem. Everybody needs to be, you say, we hail thee when you have done well. The other one was an exhortation that people should arise and do something. Let us still have at the back of our mind the exhortation of the other one, so that we can hope to be able to ingratiate ourselves in the new one. So the point we are making here is that when the governors of the Southeast feel that the challenges, they need to solve it, they will come together. It is beyond political parties, and yet it was engendered and sustained by politics, whether local or induced. That is my point. And they know what they can do. But who will build the cart? We also need a stronger Ohanese. Ohanese must be seen. Let me tell you, under Joe Modo, Ohanese was more vibrant. And if your leadership of a cultural organization is not as vibrant and strong and respectable by its people, nobody outside will respect you. That is not to say that the current executive is not trying, but that is what they can do, because age is no longer on the side of the leadership. You need vibrant leadership, highly knowledgeable, capacity to deliver, and patriotism and the zeal to go through the hawks. Because if you, the owner of a basket, condemn it, then your neighbor will use it to pour trash. That is where I will just put it.
Well, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Dr. Naji, for your time this morning.
Thank you so much, my wonderful viewers, for watching this video together with me from the beginning to the end. Like I said before, if you like what you see here, if you like what I do in this platform, as you have finished watching this video, please hit that red button that says subscribe and put on your notification bell to all notification. In that way, you'll be able to know when I upload a new video. Share my videos, leave your comments in the comment section constructively. Until I meet your way again in my next video, I still remain your Linda's TV show. Bye-bye.